good afternoon. In this video, we're going to run through logic cell number 1. So go to the YouTube page and about. If you scroll down, you'll see the links. If you have ROBOGUIDE number 9.3, you can download the cell with all these programs already set up. If you do not and you have an older version, just go to the cell setup and logic game number 1. It'll bring you to the YouTube page. It'll bring you to the drive page in which we're going to download. Once you download them, unzip them, and then from the actual ROBOGUIDE, we'll add the files to the main folder, and then we'll start adding to our actual device. The robot we're going to be using is the R2000 IC165F. So let's create that cell. So let's go New Cell, Handling Pro, and let's call this Logic Game 1. Pick your version, and we're going to use the default claw. If you don't have this, just go to the CAD library and find it under the claws. And we're going to use the 2000 IC165F. Next, next, and then finish. And while this initializes, I'm going to pause the video. And then once it's done initializing, we will come back and then start setting up the cell. With the bigger robots, you may be asked what type of flange you would like to use. We're going to just use a standard flange, which is number 1. So type in 1, enter, and then I'll continue working. All right, let's start setting up the cell once it's open. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add the table with legs. So here's all the sizes. So go under Fixtures, right click, Add Fixture, and we're going to go to the CAD library, and we're going to find the table with legs. So go down Table, Table with Legs, hit OK, and then we're going to add all the sizes that we had on the actual picture. So we got 1600, 0, 800, W is 90, 0, and 90. Sizes is going to be 1, 1, and scale of 2. Let's make this a blue color. Lock proportions and hit apply. So now we have our actual device. Next, let's add the legs underneath the actual robot. So here's the actual size. We're going to use this as an obstacle. Let's go inside here. Let's go Obstacles, right click, Add Obstacle, CAD library. Let's go to Robot Bases, and let's click the top so we can actually see what it looks like. And we're going to use this arch, so arc MA290. Hit OK. And let's put in the location size. So it's going to be 0, 0, 0. Scale is going to be 1.25, 1.125, and then 1. So if we hit apply, it should be directly in line of our robot. Lock proportions, hit OK. So the next thing, we're going to move the robot. Double click the robot, and it brings up the location, and we're going to go with Z of 500. And now we have our robot on top of our base. And I'm going to lock the position. Let's add the logic game piece, which is going to be a CAD file that's part of the Google Drive. So here's our dimensions. Now before we add those things, we need to actually find out where it is in the folder. So if we go File, Save As, you'll be able to find where the folder is. So here's the folder, and we need to save those CAD files into that folder. So here's that folder. I'm going to grab my CAD files. I'm going to go Control Copy. Now you can put all these items into that folder if you want. You don't have to. Then we're going to go to the cells. I'm going to go to my logic game number 1, and I'm going to paste them inside there. So now I have my logic game pieces inside the work cell. So now we can upload them. So let's go right click on Fixtures, Add Fixture, Single CAD Library. And we're now going to find logic cell number 1. Part 1.1. Open. And then we're going to need to rotate things around so that it fits. 1600, 0, 800, W is 90, P is 0, R is 90. Hit apply. And now we have it in our place. We're going to lock our scale and proportions. If you want, you can change the color as well. I'm going to leave it as this color. We hit OK. And then we're going to add our second part to there too. So I'm going to right click, add fixture, single CAD library. And then we pick part 2. And we are going to put 1600, 0, 800, 90, 0, 90. Lock proportions, hit OK. So now we have our end part. Now let's create the part that will go in the actual fixture. So we're going to create a part, and it's going to be diameter 50, length of 100, 2 kilograms each. So go to ROBOGUIDE. And we're going to create a part in which we're going to add to our fixture. So let's go under parts, right click, new part, and we're going to go to cylinder. And inside that cylinder, just rename it as part. And we're going to go 2 kilograms for that part. Diameter is going to be 50, and then length is going to be 100. Hit apply, and now our part is the correct amount. I'm going to go in here, and we're going to start adding the parts to our device. So I'm going to go inside here, double click, and go to parts, add our part, apply, and our location is a little bit off. We need to modify our location, and I go to the picture. So we're -200, -200, Y is 50. So when I go to that, so edit, -200, 50, -200. Now we have everything good. Let's now array this. So we're going to add, and pay attention to which direction your UCS is. So Z and X. So we're going to go in the X direction of 5 total, and in the Z direction of 5 total, and nothing in the Y direction. So we're going to just go 1. So I'm going to go 100, 100, and 100. That is the spacing between each of these. Now, because we're only going 1 in the Y, it doesn't matter if I put 100, 0, or 1000 there, it will neglect that part. So when I hit OK, now I have all my parts in place and in the correct area. I hit OK. Next, we're going to add the part to the second logic game, and it's going to be at 50 and 350 for the Z. Go here, and we're going to go to logic game number 2, double click it, go to parts, add your part, apply, edit. We're going to go 50 in the Y, and then 350 in the Z. So now it's correct position, and we're going to make this unchecked visible at runtime, because we're going to be picking it up, placing it there, and then placing it back over here. So hit OK. The next thing we want to do is make sure these are pick and place. So let's go to 1.1 and go to simulation. Should be allowed to pick and also place. Same thing with part 2. Should be able to pick and place. Hit OK. So now these 2 cells are set up. We need to now set up our U tool. All right, in the U tool, we're going to have 413.999 and then -180. Go to the robot, tooling, double click our 3-jaw chuck, and go to U tool. And let's go edit tool. And then we're going to go change our numbers to 413.999. And then the W to -180, so that's good. Hit apply. Next, we're going to switch our parts. So we're going to go to the parts, and let's go to the picture. And if we scroll over here, here's the parts, and here's the position for the picture. So 415 and -90. So we're going to add our part, apply, edit, and our Z is going to be 415 and -90 for our W. So it's correct, and we want to make sure that it's the same position for pickup and placement. So we want visible at teach time, that's good. Visible at runtime, we want that to be unchecked. Simulation should be all good. We don't have to worry about this. Hit OK. And now we're ready for our pick and place. So let's now set up the registers. The first one we're going to do is the data registers. So here is the data registers numbers. I'm going to go to my Fanic. I'm going to turn on my teach pendant. And then I'm going to go to my data registers. So data. And make sure we're under data registers, which we are. So I put in the first one is going to be speed. It's going to be column counter. Third one is going to be row counter. And then we may use counter 1 and counter 2. And we'll just put the same numbers that I saw on my file, which is going to be 200555 and then 0. So 5's down the row and then 0. So next we're going to put in our position register. So we're going to have our home, we're going to have our safe, we're going to have our game 1 positions and tool offsets. So we go in here and we're going to start setting that up. So let's go to position registers. And the first one is going to be home position, and then safe position, and then game 1 start, and then game 1 end. And then number 10 is going to be our tool offset. And then number 12 is going to be game 1 XY. Start recording these positions. So for home position, joint, we're going to have -90. And then zeros down the board. And then I'm going to go to record, shift record. So that's my home position. So then my safe position, I'm going to rotate joint number 1 -90 degrees so it's out of the position. And then maybe I'll rotate it as well. And I could do a movement of our joints. So -30 there. And now we have all our rotations. And this is going to be my safe position. So I'm going to shift record. So I have my shift recording on. And then game 1 start. So the starting position is going to be right here. So if I double click my, and then I click part number 1 and then I go move to. So I go to parts, part number 1, move to. It'll move to that first initial position, looks good. And then I'm going to go shift record. And then game end is going to be over here. So I'm going to double click this mat, which brings up my single part for that one right there. And we go move to, and then that's going to be my end point. So I'm going to go shift record, and then my tool offset, I'm going to go shift record. So it's recorded, turn off shift, go to position, and then we're going to make these 0. 0, enter, 0, enter, 0, enter, all the way down. So now that those are all 0, we're going to hit done. And then we're going to go down to game 1 XY. And then we're going to go shift record, turn off shift, position, and then we're going to make these 0s as well. So now we have all our position registers all good. Now we need to move our jaws in and out. So here is the movement for each of the jaws. Each of the jaws are going to be the same. So I'm going to take a picture of this so I don't have to go back and forth of this. And then I'm going to go into my ROBOGUIDE and I'm going to click jaw number 1, double click it, brings up jaw number 1, and we're going to go to motion, and we're going to switch this to device in and out, and linear motion, speed of 1000, and then in and out 1000, and we're going to go our Robo controller number 1, which is our teach pendant, and then we're going to make this digital 1, and then this also as digital 1. This one's going to be off, location is 0, and location is 20. Down below, RoboControl 1, RoboControl 1. And this is going to be our digital input number 1, and this is going to be digital input number 2. And when they're both on, 0 location and 20 location. So now we have to do this for all 3. Okay? And if it gives you error, technically we really don't need these. So if it gives you an error, we can actually delete these if we want to. We only need one since they're going to the same speed. So if we go none on there. So digital 1 is the big ones. Here is the list of programs that we're going to create. We want to make sure that we name them exactly so that we can follow along with the video. So I'm going to go into my RoboGuide, and the first thing I'm going to create, let's do the gripper open and gripper closed. So we're going to go to Teach, Add Simulation Program, and this program is going to be called Gripper Closed. And we're going to add our instructions, and we're going to go digital 1 on, and then we're going to wait until digital 1 happens. So digital input 1 on. So that's going to be our closed item. So if we play on this, you'll see it closed. So now we have gripper closed. Let's create our gripper open. So let's go Teach, Add Simulation Program. And for the gripper open, we're going digital 1 off. And then we're going to wait until digital 2 is on. We could test this out. So test. And our claws should open. There we go. So now we have our gripper open and closed. So now we need to do the placements. Let's do our end game drop off. So let's go Teach, Add Simulation Program, and this is going to be our end drop, our end drop off game 1. Hit OK. And this is where we're going to drop off. So we're going to do instructions, and we're going to drop, and we're going to drop the part, and we're going to drop the part from our gripper, so our 3-jaw gripper, and we're going to drop it onto logic game 1, 2. Logic game 1, 2. We're going to Teach, Add Simulation Program, and this is going to be our end pickup game 1. End pickup game 1. Okay. And we're going to go to pickup, and we're going to pick up part, and we're going to pick up the part from 1, 2. It's 1, 2 with the gripper. Close out. So now we have our pickup programs. Now we need to have the start pickups as well. So we're going to go Teach, Add Simulation Program, and this is going to be our start drop off game 1. And we're going to drop off. So we're going to drop, and we're going to drop off the part from the gripper to logic game 1-1 and make sure that there's an asterisk here. Close that out. And now we're going to go teach, add simulation program, and we're going to create the last simulation program, which is going to be the start pickup game 1. And we're going to pick up. What are we going to pick up? We're going to pick up the part from our logic star. Make sure it's the asterisk so that we can place these from different areas. And we're going to pick it up with the gripper. So now that we have all the different programs all set up, now we can actually create the main programs that you'll see on the Google Drive. So what you'll need to do is create game 1 part pickup, game 1 part place, game 1 test pickup, game 1 test place, and then your final game 1 answer. So if I go to the actual pictures here on the Google Drive, so here is the program for game 1 part pickup. Just follow along with this and you'll be able to create your game 1 based off of this file. Then for the next one, you're going to just go game, and then you have game 1 part place. Just follow along with the number. Then the next one is going to be game 1 test place. And then after that, you're going to have the game 1 test pickup. So just follow along with these and you'll be able to create each of the different programs. After that, follow along with the video, and the video will help you kind of guide through what the cell should actually do and create your answer.